Hey everybody, welcome to another Year of Sundance 2024 edition, celebrating 40 years of independent film. We got some really great interviews coming up for you, so stay tuned, like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching Breezeway Productions.
Great shot. All right.
Josh Margolin.
Hey Josh, thank you for taking the time. Tell me a little bit about what brings you out tonight to the festival.
I'm here for the premiere of my movie Thelma that I wrote and directed. Okay. So I'm go ahead. I'm very excited. I can't wait.
So we were talking with June earlier, and she said that this was your first film, and that it didn't seem like it because you ran the crew so well, and that you knew it was unbelievable to watch you work. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's very nice of her to say. I think it just means I hid my fear well. But no, I was lucky to have worked on other projects in various capacities as an editor, or writer, or an actor. So at the very least, when I got here, I felt like some of these jobs felt familiar. So it was nice to have some familiarity with the rhythm of it, and then the difference being I now sort of was in charge of that in a different way. But it's generous of her to say. I appreciate that.
How does it feel to have your film premiere at Sundance? This being your first feature film.
It's a dream. It was a dream to get to make this. It's a dream to be premiering it here. It sort of, in our minds, was always where we hoped, in our hearts that we could premiere it, and it just feels, very surreal. But I'm thrilled to be here.
Okay. Who was your biggest inspiration as a filmmaker growing up when you were watching movies? Like, who's your favorite filmmaker that inspired you?
When I was growing up, that's a good question. There were a lot of them, but I feel like, I was growing up. There were a lot of Spielberg movies that really affected me. P.T. Anderson. I'm playing the hits here, but there were movies by both of those guys at different times that just really stuck with me as so, obviously beautifully made and complicated and interesting and exciting. And I think, there's many, and I'm sure I'm leaving people out because there's so many, but those two just jump to mind as people that I remember at a young age getting very excited by seeing their movies.
In closing, is there anything you'd like to say to the Sundance Film Festival for the acceptance?
I would like to say thank you, and I am honored and humbled to be here, and I just can't wait. I'm going to stay the whole time, try to see as many movies as I can, so I'm thrilled to be here. Just can't wait.
June Squibb.
June, it's an honor to speak to you tonight. Tell me, who is Thelma?
Thelma is a wonderful woman of a certain age, and she had an adventure. She actually got scammed. One of the grandson calling scams, I'm in jail and I need money, or something's happening and I need money. And she decides that she will get the money back. Okay. So we call it an action film because she does go out and get her money back, and she does all kinds of action things. She drives a scooter through California, through L.A.
Yeah.
So it's a fun movie.
Wonderful. What did you love most when you were reading the script?
Well, the character itself. I thought it was something that I understood and would like to be doing, working on. And I guess that was the most important thing.
Okay. My final question for you is, we know that you've worked with some incredible directors like Alexander Payne for Nebraska. What was one thing that really stood out to you about working with the director of this film?
With Josh? Well, it's his first film, and it's hard to believe that it's his first film. He's so fine, and he's such a great leader. He had such a sense of community in this group that got together to film this piece, and it was wonderful. He had a very young company, too, and they were just gung-ho. They just really wanted to do it. Great.
Gregg.
Clark, thank you for taking the time. Tell me about your role in Thelma.
Thelma is a really funny, really heartwarming indie comedy about a grandmother who's very close with her grandson and gets conned into one of those horrible scams we all hear about, where she gets a call from him and he's in big trouble and has to send cash, and of course it wasn't him. So myself and Parker Posey, we play his parents, and Parker plays June, the grandmother character's daughter. And so it's really about the family kind of rallying and figuring out what to do to support her, and in the middle of this very slow-moving action film.
How did the script end up making it over to you?
My agent, kind of the standard way, my agent sent it to me, and I loved it immediately and said, I'm in. I went and had a meeting with Josh, who was remarkable, and it was just one of those ones that was just a no-brainer to me.
So we know that you were very active over the recent past couple of months with the strikes that were occurring and that what was going on between the negotiations between the union and other studios. How do you feel things are going afterwards, post-strike, in terms of film and television production?
I think everybody's really happy to be back and really grateful. There's a lot still to be seen. There's been, in some ways, things have jumped right back at full pace, but other things have gone slow. A lot of shows have been canceled. It's really hard to know what is part of corporate downsizing in a way of America, and what is just the normal compression of a business that grew exponentially in a way that wasn't financially sustainable for the people making the work and even the people at the top.
In closing, if you could pitch this film to audiences, how would you describe it?
Wow, that's a really good one. I would say that it's Mission Impossible. It's the family version of Mission Impossible if you think Tom Cruise isn't quite old enough.
Is June Squibb the new Tom Cruise?
That's what people are saying.
Well, I love that, and thank you so much for spending the time. Well, speaking with
Fred Hechinger.
Hey, Fred, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. Tell me about Thelma.
Thelma is a really great movie, starring June Squibb, who's right next to me, directed by Josh Margolin, who was just to the left of me, and it's about I play June's grandson, and it's loosely based off of Josh's real grandmother, who's Thelma Post is her name. That's why the character's named Thelma, and it imagines. She was subject to one of those phone scams that preys on the elderly, basically.
Oh, okay.
And the movie imagines what would happen if Thelma decided to get her money back.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. How did you prepare for the role? What did you do to really get into your character?
I loved the script so much, and he made these incredible short documentaries that, because he's also, for a long time, has been a very successful editor, and so he edited these very short docs about different topics that's with him and his real grandmother. And at the same time that I read the script, I watched a lot of those, and I just loved those. So I watched those, I read the script, and that's what set me off to be excited, and I started talking with Josh about the film and producing it and making it and the whole thing. And then once we started really going, it's a kind of really enjoyable process always of preparation, where you go down one rabbit hole and you see if it feeds you there, inspires you there, and you try and prepare this thing, and you focus on your clothes, and you get to become friends and know all these wonderful other actors. I mean, we hung out a lot as a cast before. We did some rehearsals. We talked about the things that we cared about in it, what we wanted to bring out in the movie, and you just kind of spend these weeks working on it in that way.